to the Sooty Mondays and Sooty Tuesdays in Nairobi. For the last 3 weeks, I spent time in the coast, and that place is relatively hot. So we're doing the project, and thank you very much for those who turned up, those who supported that project of supporting the elderly women in Kilifi. I'm now back to Nairobi, full swing, and I believe that now it's time now to sit back, relax, and get uninterrupted analysis. On 18th September, this Wednesday, a renowned Raila Odinga's lobby group known as Friends of Baba had organized a fundraiser to boost Raila Odinga's kitty. And this poster was released last week. I saw this poster last week on Tuesday. Yes, and it was about the FOBA. FOBA is one of the lobby groups that have been lobbying for Raila Odinga, a fundraising lobby for Raila Odinga, even by the time he was vying for presidency. So if you remember the fundraise that was done for Raila, it is FOBA that was actually in the forefront of organizing, or rather fundraising, for Baba, for Raila Odinga. And there was all matter of, when I saw this, two things really crossed our minds. That number one, Raila Odinga was indirectly speaking to the Kenya Kwanza administration that his campaign kitty, funding of his campaigns is a concern. That's one thing it was raising in it. The second bit, it was like he also wanted to run his own kitty. And so I think it brought such factors on the ground in the picture, because when Raila Odinga announced his bid, the government of the Republic of Kenya had been trying to own up those campaigns and of course saying that the campaigns should and will be funded from the government side. And of course, one thing I know is, even if this fundraiser was to be done, even if the fundraiser is done, then it was supposed to just boost what the government is doing. So the exclusive report coming now is William Ruto has ordered for that fundraiser to be cancelled. Is it good news? Is it bad news? And why exactly do you think the president's team have reached at that decision? And Raila Odinga is a bit rattled by this move by the government of Sai to disassociate his secretariat from the FOBA, the Friends of Baba, which is his long-time lobby group that have been coming to support him on his endeavors, even when he was vying for presidency. So I would want to look at this story on what they are saying. The activities of the lobby, Friends of Baba, was founded by Odinga's nephew, Jaoko Oburu. Jaoko Oburu is the son to Oburu Odinga. So, and that is a nephew of Raila Odinga. So what does that mean? That this fund drive had the blessings of Raila Odinga. There is no way the FOBA can organize a fundraising for Raila without Raila himself knowing. And in fact, if I am not wrong, it is Raila Odinga that also encouraged them to make sure that, rather, to plan for that activity, to lobby, to plan for that lobby, so that they can be sure that the Friends of Baba, they can be sure that there is some finances for Raila Odinga. So that's one factor in it. And that FOBA is led by a former East African Legislative Assembly EALA MP Mumbi Ngaru, who is the global chair, while Winnie Mandela, the president of Pan-African Movement, African and the Diaspora, is the executive director. One of the things with the FOBA is it is not only limited to Kenyans. It is not a Kenyan, it is not only Kenyans. It is a movement. It is a movement across Africa. It has membership of those across Africa. So I think two things Raila would also have achieved. His candidature was going to receive some visibility. That's one thing. Number two, he was also going to get some, inject some finances in his kitty. So if the president of Pan-African Movement, Winnie Mandela, Africa and the diaspora is the executive director, then it means it was not just really a Kenyan thing. But concerns were raised over the fundraising dinner that had been planned for Wednesday, which was supposed to be tomorrow, to help mobilize resources for Odinga's campaign. When the principal secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Dr. Korel Siongei, who is also the head of the campaign secretariat, remember that secretariat that was formed when Raila and Mudavadi held that joint press briefing in Nairobi. There's that secretariat that was formed. And the head of that secretariat is the principal secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Korel Siongei, which was a plan, which was a signal that government was sending that it is ourselves that are going to fund Raila Odinga's campaign, and those campaigns will be domiciled in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Now, when Siongei was asked, he said that government of Kenya had made a deliberate decision to distance itself from that fundraiser and will not be coming to that fundraiser. And later on, after that Nini emerged, it is reported that they reached out to Raila Odinga to cancel, President Ruto reached out to Raila Odinga to cancel that fundraising, you know. And of course, there has been a discussion of whether that fundraising can fund your campaigns or you leave your campaigns to be funded by the government of Kenya. And I just want to put something here. Of course, one of the things that President Ruto would want is to create an image, a perception that it is government fully supporting Raila Odinga. Now, if Raila Odinga is to fundraise outside, outside that government funding, they will not welcome it, because one thing, they will want to own up everything. If God moves with Raila and Raila gets that seat, then Ruto wants to take credit and say it is us who did it. So they said, we disassociate the secretariat of the campaign for His Excellency Raila Odinga from this fundraising effort, PS said last week. Something that created sharp divisions between even that secretariat, because there are members of that secretariat that were supporting it. Remember, even Raila Odinga's inner circle forms part of that secretariat. And former ambassador to the United States, Elkanah Dembo, who is also among campaign strategists for Mr. Odinga, said they had not been told about that report. According to the invite that was expected to take place in a Nairobi hotel, Serena, guests from Kenya and across Africa had been asked to attend an evening with His Excellency Raila Odinga to fundraise in support of his AUC bid. Now, it went on to state on Friends of Baba exclusively invites you for fundraiser dinner with His Excellency Raila Odinga. And one of the things that was there was the fact that the State House cancelled that meeting. And I've been trying to ask around these corridors. And one of the things that is emerging, why that thing has not been accepted, is even the venue. The venue was Serena Hotel. There are quarters within the government that feel that their hotels, their preferred hotels, could have been the ones that maybe hosted. In fact, someone just posted in Twitter saying, so if the fundraiser was to be held in Western Hotel, then could it be allowed? And what is wrong with fundraising so that it reduces the much that government puts in it? Because we also have other things. Government is also having austerity measures. What is wrong with Raila Odinga lobby looking for some funds? Government being there, they will know that, okay, fine, we had an X amount of money that we needed for Raila's campaign, then his fundraising has maybe raised X amount of money. So that they just supplement and they work concurrently. But they've blatantly done that and knocked out Raila Odinga. And Mimi, I'm still maintaining this. I'm not yet convinced that Kenya Kwanza is committed on campaigning for Raila Odinga. When you listen to strategists speaking across the continent, there is a feeling that Africa is also undergoing some transition. And what the kind of person that Africa needs may not be the Raila Odinga. And I think that would not have been his best timing. And people are even saying that Kenya is not so honest about this. Because now look at, a lobby has even organized for friends outside Africa, outside Kenya. Friends outside Kenya, this means that some African countries, they will look for maybe friends in other African countries who will also come. Probably they can stand the word. And another thing, this is a platform for Raila Odinga to speak about his vision for Africa. Yes. He's not gotten any time in the mainstream or maybe a global news outlet in Africa to speak about his vision for the continent. That has not been seen. I think even BBC, they should also look for Raila and maybe have, so that he speaks about. But so this was also another forum, apart from the fundraising bit, raising money, this was also another forum for Raila to explain his vision for the continent. And the State House team are feeling a little bit disturbed of some, according to me, will look very shaky reasons on it. On many occasions, Mr. Odinga's daughter, Winnie Odinga, was accused, and let's just look at Mr. Buru Odinga, Dr. Buru, is not new to the formation of lobby groups to champion for Mr. Odinga's campaign when it comes. In the run-up to 2022 general election, he founded the Youth for Handshake to spearhead Odinga's campaign. He also had its headquarters in Lavington Estate, an office funded by well-wishers, but those impact in the campaigns remained a matter of debate. Now, I have also seen some other story that the fundraiser has been cancelled because they are members of Raila Odinga's family, because like Dr. Jaoko is his family's nephew, that will just want to take chance of that opportunity to make themselves fortunes. I've seen people arguing about that and saying that Odinga family are fond of hijacking his campaigns just for their own fortunes. I found absolutely nothing wrong with that. And this is my reasoning. That cannot be a ground for status to cancel that fundraiser. Kwa sababu, how many people are using Raila's name in these corridors? How many Kenyans are using Raila's name to make fortunes? Starting from governors to MPs to senators to governors to MCAs. So Raila is a tree. And as a family, I'm very sure that there is no salary that Raila pays his family members. There is no money set aside to pay his family members. So if there is an opportunity that they can organize something, because Raila is an institution, it's already a name. If is already getting some profile, that if a fundraiser is organized, he can get some money, and maybe even if some of his family members will benefit. What exactly is wrong if your family members benefit from your name? What's wrong? What exactly is wrong? I find that a bit petty, and actually that is out of the point. Let's look at why William Ruto cancelled Raila Odinga's fundraiser. It cannot be anything apart from what I want to show you here. And the first bit is William Ruto will want Raila to be under his mercies. Why? Exchange of political patronage. I'm telling you, there will be a crisis that will be created on finances. I understand for some time I've been analyzing about Kenya Kwanza for the last 2 years. I've always realized something, that Kenya Kwanza manufactures crisis so that the president will come from heaven, allegedly from the perceived heaven, with a solution. So what they want is, they want a crisis. The next time Raila Odinga's campaign secretariat, just wait, they will complain, and that complaints have been raised in the past, that they're not getting maximum support from the government. Or maybe that money has not been released for one reason or the other. Thank God now the treasury is bad. So that President Ruto will be at his mercies. Why? He will seek political exchange, patronage. The next thing, you will see some ODM MPs now attending Ruto's events and telling Ruto that now you need to support Raila, this and that. This was it. The AUC candidature of Raila Odinga was in exchange of political patronage. And you see the 2 trips that the president did, the one in China and the one in Germany. Raila Odinga was part and parcel of it. And apart from China, where they campaigned a bit for the AUC, in Germany, I did not see AUC campaigns, and Raila was just part of advanced team supporting the president. Now, I'm also seeing possibility that William Ruto understands that this opportunity of Raila vying, he can use it well to fundraise and mobilize resources. In the moment he mobilizes resources, Raila has a tendency of mobilizing resources and not using them. So that after this AUC seat, because one thing I'm telling Raila as a politician, in February 25th, if he is not elected as the chairperson of the African Union Commission, the next day Raila will be in Kenya and he will be coming back to the local politics. He will be bursting into the local politics with a big blaze. So one thing that Ruto understands that and knows that he will not want Raila to make extra coin from that. And I find that is a bit absurd. Even if hata kama ni wewe na umepata opportunity ya kutengeneza dough, this money will come back and use for campaigns. I think that is something that President Ruto is seeing. Number 3 is, there are some global billionaires, there are some billionaires that will coalesce around Raila Odinga during this time, so that probably for one reason or the other they can pursue their interest, and that is also part of the team that William Ruto is trying to stop. So ladies and gentlemen, that is my take. You can also share with us, why do you think and do you support the decision by the government to cancel Raila Odinga's fundraiser? One of the reasons is that Raila snubbed the venue. If it could be in Weston, maybe it would have happened. Remember, many of the tenders now and events now that are government linked to government, all of them now head to Weston Hotel that belongs to the president. Thank you.